welcome to Cognition, and this episode is socialism. Lately, every time I hear that word, I think of The Princess Bride, and that word, I do not think it means what you think it means. Our current leader in the White House uses it to drum up fear and create enemies out of shadows. Yet I doubt he even knows what the word socialist is, and he's certainly seeing socialists where none exist. Socialism is defined as a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole, i.e. the government. Most Americans, liberal and conservative, do not fall into this ideology. Okay? Social change is different. It refers to any significant alteration over time in behavioral patterns and cultural values and norms. Wanting to change culture or social behavior to improve society is not socialism. Socialized healthcare is a scare tactic and not what universal healthcare actually is. You see, creating a system whereby taxpayer money is used to generate healthcare for all is not socialism unless the government controls the doctors' and patients' actions. In other words, the doctors have to be government employees. Now, there is an example of socialized medicine in America. It actually does exist. It's called veterans hospitals. These facilities are completely run by the government. The doctors at veteran facilities are all government employees. Now, I have to admit, I stole this idea, okay? I got this concept from an LA Times article written by George Skelton in 2017. Sir, I apologize, but I'm hoping you appreciate how I'm using this point. The healthcare system set up by Obama and the plans being considered to generate better healthcare for all, none of them involve the doctors and hospitals actually being run by the government. The general populace also does not have control over who gets to be a doctor and who does not. The means of medical care, the physicians, are not controlled by the people as a whole. Back to the vets hospitals, okay? Since they are technically like socialist medicine, should the government stop providing care to vets? I don't think so. Okay? In fact, maybe nobody should let our current POTUS see this video in case he gets this idea in his head that he should shut those down. Because, yeah. Right. Also, if we just use the term socialism to mean the government owns the means of providing services, then the post office is socialism, the fire department is socialism, the police force is socialism, construction of the sidewalks and streets are acts of socialism. Truth is, these are basic needs most government bodies in the civilized world provide their citizens. Okay? Yeah. In truth, true socialism, everything is run by the government, including food, clothing, and commodities. Every time in history someone has tried to do that, the system breaks down into a dictatorship and falls apart. It is against human nature for there to be a complete community ownership of everything. We have too much of a need for individuality and autonomy. Let's face it, we're selfish, okay? The countries that have tried to be socialistic, Russia, North Korea, and China are three of the hotspots for our POTUS. Yeah, there are countries that our current leaders seem to admire and want to emulate. Think about that, all right? I don't get that at all, okay? The people in this country say, yay, Russia. Do you remember where socialism came from? Do you remember what happened in Marxism and Stalinism? People are using the word socialist as a term to cause fear and hate, to create enemies where there are none. Socialism has a tendency to put power in the ruling class and to create a caste system rather than true equality. Ironically, the Germans brought socialism to America in the 1850s as Marxism. There was a Socialist Party of America that formed in the early 1900s, and it dissolved in 1972. The Socialist Party USA exists today. I think it has like 56,000 members. That's it. Democratic socialism. That is what it is. It is not the same as the predecessor. Socialism today in America is comprised of the Democratic Socialist parties of the left, which do not completely want to control everything in the hands of the government. And here's a very, very important point. The other side of the socialism spectrum, the neo-Nazi groups on the right that actually support our POTUS, the National Socialist Society of America, are Nazis. So basically, POTUS saying he wants all socialists out, then I hope he means he wants the white supremacist, anti-Semitic fascists out. You know, the both sides that he blamed for Charlottesville's violence. Marxism talks about a revolution to create a classless society. 45 is effectively writing a revolution of the underserved and undereducated. But the only end result would be a dictatorship like in Russia and in North Korea, and is not a healthy, ethical society. It is a society rife with corruption and greed. The real enemy of America, I hate to say this, I am not a traitor to the United States Constitution, is sitting in the White House. He is undermining our laws and our Constitution. I don't think when 45 says socialist, he understands what he's saying. I would like him to clarify. I would like him to define the word. If he's referring to democratic socialism, sorry, they're not really socialists. They're not the socialists he's talking about. They're not the socialists that this country was afraid of during the Cold War of Russia. At least not the ones that would want to take personal property away from people. And government takes property all the time. Just look at the wall 45 wants to build. Whose land is the wall going to have to sit on? Whose land? If he does not understand the word, then he is twisting it to create a movement that could only lead to destruction of the very foundation of our legal system and the Constitution we are all supposed to follow. If 45 really wants to remove socialism from the country, maybe he should start by resigning.